Today we're looking at President Benjamin Harrison. Hello, welcome to the Daily Bellringer. Please don't forget to subscribe and take a look at the questions down in the description. Benjamin Harrison was the 23rd President of the United States from 1889 to 1893 and was a member of the Republican Party. Grandson of former President William Henry Harrison and a great-grandson of Benjamin Harrison V, the signer of the Declaration of Independence, Harrison's family had a long history in politics, and his one term in office included major economic legislation as well as his own personal efforts to expand rights for African Americans. Benjamin Harrison was born in North Bend, Ohio on August 20th, 1833, the second of 10 children born to John Scott Harrison and Elizabeth Ramsey. Benjamin's father, John, was a farmer but also served 2 terms in the United States House of Representatives. Much of Benjamin's early education was done by tutors which the Harrison family hired to teach their children. At the age of 14, Benjamin enrolled in Farmers College not far from Cincinnati. In 1850, he transferred to Miami University in Oxford, Ohio, where he studied history and politics extensively. Harrison graduated from Miami University in 1852. Immediately after graduation, Harrison began to study law in Cincinnati, and not long after, in October of 1853, he married Caroline Lavina Scott, who he had met while attending Farmers College years before. Together, Benjamin and Carrie would have 2 children. By 1854, Harrison had completed his law studies and moved his young family to Indianapolis, Indiana, where he joined a law practice. Shortly thereafter, in 1856, Harrison joined the new Republican Party and quickly became a leader, being elected the city attorney of Indianapolis in 1857. When the American Civil War began in 1861, Harrison did not immediately volunteer as he was concerned about supporting his young family. Instead, he aided in recruitment of regiments across Indiana. However, by the summer of 1862, he did join up and was commissioned as a colonel of the 70th Indiana Infantry. The 70th Indiana served in Kentucky and Tennessee, primarily guarding rail lines. By May of 1864, Harrison and the 70th joined General Williams Tecumseh Sherman in the Atlanta campaign as the Union Army pushed south. Harrison and the 70th distinguished themselves in fighting at the Battle of Resaca and Peachtree Creek. For this action, Harrison was promoted to the rank of Brigadier General in January of 1865. After the war came to an end, Harrison returned to his law practice in Indianapolis. He continued to be active in the Republican Party and ran for governor of Indiana, but lost in 1876. However, by 1880, Harrison was elected to the U.S. Senate, representing the state of Indiana, and grew in national prominence. In 1888, the Republican Party nominated Harrison to be their candidate for President of the United States, along with his running mate, Levi Morton of New York. In the general election, Harrison faced off with incumbent Democratic President Grover Cleveland. On Election Day, Harrison received over 90,000 less votes than Cleveland in the popular vote, but carried enough states to win the Electoral College and the presidency. On March 4, 1889, Benjamin Harrison was inaugurated as the 23rd President of the United States. During his presidency, Harrison sought to continue to undo the spoils system, which had been the system in which many government positions were given to unqualified candidates simply because of their support of a certain political party. Harrison favored the merit system in which individuals had to prove that they were qualified to be given posts within the government. He pushed for military spending, especially within the Navy, as the USS Texas, America's first battleship, was constructed during his presidency. He embraced new technologies of the late 1800s and had electricity installed in the White House. However, both he and his wife refused to touch the light switches for fear of being electrocuted. Harrison favored civil rights legislation that would protect the rights of African Americans, but most of the efforts to get legislation through Congress failed. During his time in office, the U.S., for the first time outside of war, spent over $1 billion. Harrison would sign the Sherman Antitrust Act in an effort by the federal government to regulate monopolies within business. One central issue during his presidency was tariffs, or taxes on imports and exports. Many urged the government to lower tariffs to help business, while others argued to keep them where they were or to make them higher in order to maintain the federal government's budget. Harrison attempted to make concessions to both sides, but in the end never pleased either side. The tariff issue played a major role in the election of 1892, as he was defeated by former President Grover Cleveland. 2 weeks before the election of 1892, Benjamin's wife Caroline died from tuberculosis. After leaving the presidency, Harrison traveled extensively, giving lectures on law and even serving as an attorney again on occasion. In 1896, he married Mary Scott Lord Dimrick, who was his first wife Caroline's secretary and 25 years younger than Benjamin. Together, they would have one child. In February of 1901, he developed pneumonia, and on March 13, 1901, Benjamin Harrison died at the age of 67. So with that, hopefully you learned something, and thanks for watching.